Live eco-restoration, live earth keeping. Rethinking the relationship between human beings and the environment. A paper presentation to the Conference of Consecrated Persons, Ejibude Diocese. Inspired by Laudato Si. Father Chukwananso Obiora, S.J. Introduction. It is no longer news that the ecological health of our common home, the Earth, is suffering seriously from toxicity, stress, and hazardous pollution due to human unhealthy ecological practices. The evidence of ecocide is widespread globally, with significant anomaly, uncertainty, and fluctuations in the weather conditions of different parts of the world that affect food production, animal habitat, and environmental health. The question is, how do we adopt a lifestyle, a production process, a consumption rate, and developmental initiatives that embody integral ecological sentiments? INTRO continues. Similarly, Pope Francis asks, what kind of world do we want to leave to those who come after us, to children who are now growing up? What is the purpose of our life in this world? Why are we here? What is the goal of our work and all our efforts? What need does the earth have of us? Pope Francis, Laudato Si. 118 to 119. Our response to these questions has to do with the ultimate meaning of our earthly sojourn and vocation. The Pope invites us to embrace integral ecology, which fosters and upholds genuine and cordial respect and relationship between us and nature, the haves and have-nots. Living earthkeeping, therefore, through eco-restoration may be one of the ways. Eco-restoration, panacea to earthkeeping. Living eco-restoration refers to any of our intentional practice of recovery, renewing and restoring degraded, damaged, or destroyed ecosystems and habitat in the environment by our active intervention, with respect to its health, integrity, and sustainability. Investing in renewable energy resources, reusing our household equipment. Combating throwaway culture, curbing indiscriminate consumption of nature's resources, and rethinking our relationship with nature, ensure ecological restoration. Any actionable means, process, guidelines, and procedures we employ in avoiding ecocide will promote eco-restoration. In this vein, Pope Francis invites the world in Laudato Si to reflect consciously with honesty on some of the models of our development, production, and consumption that is inimical to life and the rest of creation. 103. Hence, cultivating the habit of ecological restoration is a sine qua non for earthkeeping. Eco-restoration, growing trees. Earthkeeping is not only about stewarding the environment, but also about adopting lifestyle that balances our wants and needs with that of the rest of creation. This means ensuring the healthiness, integrity, and sustainability of those living close by us and those living far from us, including the future generation. Ultimately, our unalloyed motherly care of our common home, which envisages flourishing, will be beneficial both for now and for the future. Ensuring earthkeeping is for the well-being and thriving of both human and the non-human species in our planet. So, living out ecological restoration by curbing unfriendly human-induced impact on the environment will copiously promote earthkeeping because everything is interrelated. 103. Integral ecology. As image-bearers, Imago Dei, of God, we are intrinsically connected to, reliant on, and responsible for the earth, our common home, and are called to care for it. God created us to be caretakers of the earth, which creates a special relationship between us and the world we live in. We are ontologically and functionally interconnected, interrelated, and interdependent on the environment. Living out earthkeeping is actually a powerful sign of our imitation of God, the Creator and Sustainer of the whole universe. As image bearers, imago Dei, of God, we are intrinsically connected to, reliant on, and responsible for the earth, our common home, and are called to care for it. God created us to be caretakers of the earth, which creates a special relationship between us and the world we live in. We are ontologically and functionally interconnected, interrelated, and interdependent on the environment. Living out earth keeping is actually a powerful sign of our imitation of God, the Creator and Sustainer of the whole universe. Genesis 28 explicates God's benevolence in endowing us with dominion over the rest of creation, so as to become co-creators and co-restorers with Him. In relation to earth-keeping, God mandates us to care for the created world. Thus, earth-keeping is a mission, and as a mission, it ought to be accomplished. Hence, negligence to fulfill earth-keeping opposes the commands of the Creator. Eco-restoration continues. Since earth-keeping is a mission, it holds a universal imperative that degrading the earth or stifling eco-restoration directly or indirectly opposes the life and evolution of the rest of creation. In view of the latter, the Fourth Universal Apostolic Preference, UAP, of the Jesuits for the next 10 years, 2019 to 2029, emphasizes the care of our common home. The effort is to concretely respond to the cry of the earth, which affects the poor and the vulnerable in an unimaginable way. Earth-keeping as a mission ought to be continuous, until the mission is accomplished. Inasmuch as giving a particular timeline may engender astuteness in working towards realizing the goal, but we ought to remain open towards realizing the goal either before, during, or after the timeline. If we understand our life in this world as a mission, and earth-keeping too as a mission, then it follows that our life is about earth-keeping. Marrying eco-restoration with earth-keeping aims at recognizing the importance of the life support of the ecosystem. It will also foster historical continuity and integrity of the environmental ecosystem, which boosts uniformity of the distribution and abundance of organisms in their natural habitat, biodiversity. All of the above enhances food production and sustainability for the poor and the vulnerable in the world. Truly, the cry of the earth is actually the cry of the poor. But living out earth-keeping is not only about wiping away the tears of the poor and vulnerable, but also restoring their dignity. Hence, any inaction towards earth-keeping will always maim the life of the earth and the life of the poor. Consequently, earth-keeping and restorative action must be fused, and must be bonded by ecological values. These values are integral part of natural laws, which take their roots from eternal law. In other words, the magnitude of our earth-keeping is to be measured by the quality of our action taken to minimize environmental degradation. Intrigues on earth-keeping. One of the outcomes of the just concluded COP26 in Glasgow is the announcement of $130 trillion private capital to accelerate the transition to a net zero economy, that is, to balance the amount of greenhouse gas produced and the amount removed from the atmosphere. Inasmuch as this green finance provided by both public and private companies aims at driving pivotal climate action, but it also gives impetus to greenhouse gas emitters to continue deteriorating our common home. In other words, since there is fund for pollution control, then polluters of the environment can continue polluting, which, unfortunately, negates the goal of living out eco-restoration and integral ecology. This can be likened to funding a medication that destroys a sick patient. It is important to mention that the institution with the largest land ownership in the world is the Roman Catholic Church. According to Gerald Posner, author of God's Bankers, A History of Money and Power at the Vatican, the Church owns more than 70 million hectares, 177 million acres, 277,000 mi superscript 2, globally, an area that is larger than France. It is not just about agricultural land, but its churches and schools, convents, monasteries, embassies, etc. Similarly, it is possible that Ijebuode Diocese too might be the largest landowner in Ogun State. So, if our churches, schools, convents and farmlands embrace eco-friendly practices and the use of renewable energies, then it will have a concomitant positive effect in reducing energy consumption. According to Pope Francis, the effects of the present imbalance can only be reduced by our decisive action, here and now. 119. Some practical suggestions. Environmental advocacy. Presenting information on ecological issues as a way to encourage audience to adopt more environmentally sensitive practices and integral ecological worldviews. Ecoculture, eco-spirituality and eco-education, renewal and maintaining the patrimony of nature within our religious charisms and communities. Conclusion. Our action of earthkeeping can be prophetic and audible to the deaf and visible to the blind, if we balance our quest for a quality life with the health, well-being, and integrity, structure, function and composition of our common home. Therefore, eco-restoration is the responsibility of every one of us with the intention of actualizing a healthy environment and reconnecting with one another and with nature. This is why the practical approach of live eco-restoration, live earthkeeping, integral ecology, is necessary for us to radically minimize the mutilation and continual overexploitation of nature's resources. So, let's join hands together and make our common home a better place for ourselves, our posterity, and the rest of our creations. Let's, in union with this Christians, say the following prayers together. A Christian prayer in union with creation, from Laudato Si. Father, we praise you with all your creatures. They came forth from your all-powerful hand. They are yours, filled with your presence and your tender love. Praise be to you, Son of God, Jesus. Through you all things were made. You were formed in the womb of Mary our mother. You became part of this earth. And you gazed upon this world with human eyes. Today you are alive in every creature. In your risen glory. Now, listen to the summary. In 5 simple points or outlines. 1. Earth's ecological health is suffering due to human practices. Need to adopt a lifestyle that embodies integral ecological sentiments. Eco-restoration, panacea to earthkeeping. 2. Eco-restoration involves intentional practices to recover and restore ecosystems. Pope Francis emphasizes reflecting on harmful development and consumption models. Living eco-restoration promotes earthkeeping and sustainability. Integral ecology. 3. Humans are connected to and responsible for the earth. Earthkeeping is a mission and a sign of imitating God. Neglecting earthkeeping opposes the commands of the Creator. Intrigues on earthkeeping. 4. Green finance may encourage polluters to continue damaging the environment if it lacks eco-friendliness. The Roman Catholic Church owns vast amounts of land globally, that is why to whom much is given much is expected. Practical suggestions. 5. Environmental advocacy to encourage environmentally sensitive practices. Embracing and promoting ecoculture, eco-spirituality, and eco-education. Finally, earthkeeping is necessary for a healthy environment and reconnection with nature. Live eco-restoration and live earthkeeping are essential for minimizing exploitation. Collaborative efforts needed to make the earth a better place for all. Thank you and stay eco-friendly. This talk is inspired by Laudato Si and presented by Reverend Father Chuck Wanunso, Obiora S.J. Thank you once again.